Have you heard of Universe 25? It sounds like a science fiction story, but it's actually one of the most famous and haunting social science experiments ever conducted. In the 1960s and 70s, a scientist named John Calhoun created a series of experiments, first with rats and then with mice. Universe 25 was his most ambitious. He built what he called a mouse utopia. Mousetopia? A perfect world for mice. They had unlimited food and water, comfortable housing, no predators, no disease, nothing to fear. At first, it was paradise. The mice thrived and multiplied. But then, something strange happened. Some mice became violent and aggressive. Others withdrew completely, isolating themselves from the group. And a particular group emerged, which Calhoun called the beautiful ones. These beautiful ones spent their days doing nothing but grooming themselves and living for appearances. They never built families, never took responsibility for others, never contributed to their community. And eventually, even though every physical need was provided, their society collapsed. Every last mouth died. Universe 25 became a world of death amidst abundance. Now, Calhoun's focus was an overpopulation and behavior study. But there is a deeper spiritual lesson here for us. Physical comfort alone is not enough for life. Without purpose, connection, and responsibility, even paradise becomes a prison. The tragedy of the mice was not simply that they had too many neighbors or too much food. It was that they lacked anything greater than themselves. No vision or meaning or higher purpose to direct their lives. This is where the difference for us as human beings lies. We have a blueprint for meaning. In our tradition, we are given the Torah, mitzvot, and community, a path that leads us beyond our most basic instincts. Where the mice lived only for survival, we are called to live for sanctity, to find holiness in our choices and relationships. We are human beings, created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. To be human is to be endowed with the divine spark, a soul capable of seeing the divine in others, of lifting life beyond instinct and consumption. The collapse of the mice wasn't about lack of food. They had more than enough. And that tragically is the danger for us too. A society without purpose will eventually wither, even amidst planning, or especially amidst planning. Today on Yom Kippur, we have chosen to be hungry. Not because there is no food, but because we have voluntarily set it aside. On the holiest day of the year, we step away from food, drink, and other physical pleasures. The Torah commands us to afflict ourselves, afflict our souls on Yom Kippur, not as punishment, but as awakening. When we let go of comfort, even for just one day, we are reminded of what truly matters. Yom Kippur peels away the layers of distraction, our wealth, our possessions, our routines, so we can hear the still, small voice of our soul. It is a day to strip life down to its essence and ask, who am I? Why am I here? What truly matters? By fasting, we proclaim that we are more than our appetites, that life is more than survival. Let me be clear. Judaism does not condemn possessions or pleasure. Nice things can uplift us, make life easier, and even bring joy. A beautiful home where friends can invite friends, or a shared meal with friends. A work of art that inspires us, or receiving a package, a book, new clothes. These are gifts that enrich life. The danger comes when we make possessions our identity, when we confuse what we own with who we are. If our main source of meaning comes from our stuff, our achievements, our image, then we end up like those beautiful ones in Universe 25, polished on the outside, but empty on the inside. Our sages teach that desire is like a fire. It consumes whatever fuel you feed it and is never satisfied. The book of Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, says, "He who loves money will never be satisfied with money." Imagine trying to satisfy your hunger by taping sandwiches on your skin. No matter how many you attach, you'll still be hungry because the food never reaches where it's needed. That's what happens when we try to feed our souls with material things. The latest phone, the biggest house, the fancier car. They are like the sandwiches on the outside. They never touch the inner hunger. Judaism teaches that abundance can be holy when it's used with intention. Like a bigger house to welcome guests for Shabbat and Simchas, or wealth to build schools, hospitals, synagogues, community centers, food and drink to share in sacred meals and celebrations. The problem is not abundance itself, it's when abundance becomes the goal rather than the means to serve others and bring holiness into the world. As my favorite author, J.R.R. Tolkien, once wrote, "If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world." On Yom Kippur, we step away from 5 physical pleasures: eating and drinking, wearing leather shoes, anointing with oils or lotions, sexual intimacy, and excessive comfort like bathing for pleasure. Each one of these teaches a spiritual lesson. Most days we take food for granted. We forget the farmers, the truck drivers, the store workers, the countless others involved in bringing a simple meal to our table. We waste food while others go hungry. We open a tap without thinking about those who live without water. Fasting reminds us to be grateful and mindful of these blessings. What we wear often signals status, wealth, power, competition. Designer handbags, luxury watches, expensive suits. These are the modern versions of the beautiful ones in Universe 25. On Yom Kippur, we step back from that world. We all stand equal before God, barefoot or in simple shoes, mortal beings who will one day return to dust and ashes. We live in a culture obsessed with appearances, where people are valued for how they look rather than who they are. Advertising sells everything: cars, music, even ice cream, by sexualizing it. Children are sexualized too early, robbed of the innocence that should protect their childhood. And we swipe through dating apps like Roman emperors, giving thumbs ups or thumbs down on another human soul. As the saying says, everything is sex except sex, which is about power. Today we say enough. Our dignity is not skin deep. Our worth comes from the divine image within. Judaism sees intimacy as holy when expressed through love, commitment, and responsibility. But in a society of consumption, sex is often commodified. Young women, sometimes barely adults, are pressured to perform online for approval or for profit. Men are lured into addiction that distort relationships and turn people into objects. Websites and apps reduce sacred connection to financial transaction. Yom Kippur calls us to a higher vision, one where our bodies and souls unite in sacred covenant, where relationships bring holiness rather than exploitation. Our tradition says Yom HaKippurim can be read as Yom Kippurim, a day like Purim. This made me think of the background of the setting of the story of Esther. The Midrash tells us that at King Ahasuerus' great feast, he declared that everything would be provided, and quote, according to the wishes of every person. A heavenly voice then responded, in this world, it is impossible to satisfy everyone. No amount of abundance can fulfill every craving, only in the world to come. Someone will always want more. True harmony will only come when every soul is aligned with divine purpose. But perhaps we can bring a taste of that future world, of the world to come, into our present by using our blessings not to hoard, but to share, to rejoice in others' joy, to bring holiness into our daily lives. The tragedy of our human Universe 25 is not overpopulation, it is emptiness of soul. Even with full stomachs, we starve for meaning. We live in a world overflowing with abundance, yet we see loneliness, sadness, depression, and division. And in the richest society on the globe, we are seeing it more than anywhere else. Like the mice, we risk becoming either the lonely ones, the violent ones, or the beautiful ones who care only about ourselves. But Yom Kippur provides the antidote. By fasting, we declare that we are more than our appetites. By confessing together, we embrace community and responsibility. By stepping away from superficial pleasures, we seek a deeper connection with God and with one another. Today, as we stand hungry before God, let us ask, are we just well-fed mice in a world of plenty? Or are we builders of a sacred universe filled with Torah, commandments to make better societies, and love? The answer depends on how we use our blessings. If we live only for ourselves, like the mice of Universe 25, our society will wither. But if we use our wealth, talents, and time to lift others up, we can create a community where every soul thrives. We cannot take our treasures with us to the grave, but we can turn them into mitzvot, into joy, into lives transformed. May this Yom Kippur teach us to master our desires, to find joy in others' blessings, and to remember that true life comes not from abundance, but from connection, purpose, and holiness. When the fast ends, and we return to the world of food and drink, may we use those gifts not to consume endlessly, but to elevate our lives and bring blessings to others. Then we will truly live, not in a gilded cage, but in a universe filled with meaning. Gmar Chatima Tova, may we all be sealed for life and blessing in the year ahead.